What's up, outliers? Quick market update. We got two things to go through. Both are position updates. So as some of you probably know by now, I am running a covered strangle in a couple different tickers that I'm sharing with you all and kind of updating as we go through. One, it's to show the management of the covered strangle and different ways we can apply it. And then second, a vector to learn about the markets together, position management, that kind of stuff. So you guessed it. We have two on the agenda. The first one is GameStop, and then we have IBIT or Bitcoin. And these are two positions that I've maintained for a little while now, but it's about time to kick this off so that hopefully we can run this for like a full year and just see how they do. So in GameStop, what happened today? We landed just above 32. This was a pretty solid close, realistically, because the GameStop down 1.97%, but the broader market was also having a pretty rough day. You can see that NASDAQ down heavy. And if you take a look at small caps, take a look, fell out of bed. This is not good. So this is small caps really rejecting this consolidation range. And as you can see, there's nothing but below this. This is look out below. There's just not a whole lot of transactions going on in here. So what that tells me is that the movement that we saw in GameStop was actually relatively strong. I think that's generally worthwhile noting. The other thing that I want to follow up on was a conversation between Dave Lauer and I from this past week. We did a live stream on Irvin, and we talked about this a little bit. Neither he or I knew exactly what was going on, but this looks like we kind of know what was going on. This is from a little while ago on the 12th of December, but this person is showing some trades on the Chicago exchange. And their assumption is that they're using it to hedge some options that traded very close proximally, which makes a lot of sense. So it looks like a few different contributing factors were leading to the volume that we're seeing on Chicago. A lot of it does probably have to do with the rebates that we're seeing, liquidity availability, but then you can also see, here you go, that there are different kinds of benefits that are provided on the Chicago Stock Exchange compared to the others. So really interesting, but it looks like internal market incentives for people to operate there. Also, Los Angeles is ablaze right now, in case you didn't know. Cool. So that part aside, let's take a quick look just at the options chain, and then I'll run through the position itself. This is I think mostly going to be representative of what the position sits now. Again, this is through my pass-through IRA account, so it doesn't flash a bunch of personal information. So I just recreate the position down here so that we can look at that together. But we'll get to that in a second. First, let's take a look at the options chain itself. So this is actually interesting. So 957,000 calls against 296,000 puts. That's a massive expansion. And still, the majority of that is in 17 Jan. 17 Jan is about to be spicy. And you can see that in the vol in 17 Jan still being so elevated. There's just so much exposure there right now. There's no way for it not to be spicy as it sits now. So this is actually very cool to see. I think that this is interesting. Now, a bunch of these options will have fell off after today, the 10th. We lost 128,000 calls, only 30,000 puts. So still, I mean, in excess of 3-to-1 calls to puts. So still just massive bullish skew. This kind of positioning, as far as I see it right now, is not just purely people playing these front run expectations of a squeeze, right? That's why the 10 Jan is so light. That's why the 17 Jan is so heavy. We go out to 21 Feb, it's super light. 21 March, super light. So we're still playing the near game for sure, but yeah, we haven't really started filling out any of these deeper, except 16 Jan 26 is already at 57,000. It's about a 1-to-1 ratio between calls and puts. So the short term is capturing all of that bullish skew. But as you know, shout out to the out of the monies for today. We lost a lot of good soldiers out there. You just hate to see it happen, but that's how the trading game works, gang. It's just going to be like that. All right, so last thing I want to take a look at for GameStop specifically is I just want to see if there's any interesting flow that came through. I really like using that word, I have to be honest. It's just because it's so abused and beaten down and it frustrates me. So it's, I don't know, it's like a weird quirk, I suppose, all of those. And let's take a look on the options and see if there's any interesting sizing that we saw came through. I just want to make sure the rest of the filters are set up as they should, and we're good. Okay, so sorting by premium, super small. Nothing sticking out to me here. Going back a week, still small. So nothing jumping out. All of the major activity is still in that 17 Jan expiration, but I think that's just because that's where people have been building out for a little while. Cool. Position update time. So let's go down. I keep forgetting. I copy and paste it from my actual log into the workbook just because this has everything that we typically poke through, but the links don't copy over for some reason, which really grinds the old gears. So might have to get your eyes checked if I was blurry there, but it looks like we're back. So if we take a look, I did have the 7 Jan 25s. I had the 32s, and these were set to come down today. The objective was to be assigned. I sold these when they were 44 Delta, so they were right at the money. But alas, no such luck. So easy day here. These essentially will be moved down to my put tracking side down here. Got to make sure that the same format applies to this whole thing so that Eric's OCD doesn't go insane. And this will come off from here. And then we will look to re-enter some more. So now after today, as the position sits, it looks like we will be a little bit light. Like I was expecting to be up a little bit more shares here. We're only on 300 shares at 26.95. I still don't want to scale in a whole bunch here, but it's starting to force the hand a little bit. So there's a good chance what will happen on Monday is I'll actually buy some of the shares outright and then continue to sell cash secured puts. Because right now we're only 50% utilized, and I think we should be deeper than that on GameStop for the allocation. And for those that don't know, I did up the allocation to 25K just because we did a couple polls on the weekend streams, and that seems to be about representative for about the average account size as far as I can tell. So there's nothing going on here. You can just ignore all that. So yeah, we have 300 shares, 26.95. We have 2 of the 28 puts out in 21 Feb. These will sit. Those were 52 DTE. We're only 10 days in that trade. And then we have only 1 of the 35 calls. I probably will sell a second soon, and that will likely happen on Monday. That's just to capture some more of this volatility, especially as we're coming into this near-term expiration. So the additional calls that I will sell will be, it wouldn't be 2, it's just going to be 1 more so that it's 2 to 3. It's absolutely not with the intention of being assigned. I want to keep the shares. I'm just collecting the premium here. Now, comparing the strategies, all these numbers over here are all messed up from the copy and paste, so you really can't take any of those at face value. This is really what the position will continue to look like, at least for the time being, until we get to Monday. So that's the game plan here for now. And for those that are interested in the Bitcoin position, I am trading a covered strangle in IBIT. This has a slightly larger allocation. This is all part of a kind of a testing section of the portfolio. I started this last year where I took a section of the portfolio, I broke it off to trade and track these specific tickers with you all. Ideally, I'll show you, ideally these. So it's part of the leveraged covered strangle in the index ETFs, DQs and UPRO, and then IBIT was added on for a Bitcoin exposure proxy. Again, for me, and like my primary Bitcoin position is actually just in Bitcoin itself. So this is all part of that broader tester portfolio. This is actually using my money, but I just break a piece of it off to do these with you, because even though there's a little bit that's suboptimal about doing some of these the way that I am, it's not exactly how I'm playing these outright. I still feel comfortable with the positions and I'm fine with them, right? I wouldn't just waste good money. It's just not exactly optimized. I would be trading a little more aggressively than this, but the covered strangle, as I'll continue to remind you, is really designed to be built around a buy and hold position. So what I'm essentially doing here is saying, I want to buy and hold something like IBIT, UPRO, TQQs, and then GameStop, and then I'm trading this around it. So right now we have 1,000 shares at 54.55. And we have 5 total short puts out, 2 different tranches. We have a 2 lot and a 3 lot, so super small trades. We're in the 52 strike in 17 Jan and then the 49 strike in 21 Feb. And then on the call side, we have 6 of the 60s expiring 21 Feb. So you can see that we have 6 or 600 total short delta potential on this side against 1,000 long deltas. So we're still maintaining that ratio. And this one is a lot of just sit and wait for now. There's not a whole lot going on that's super exciting. There were a couple management components a little earlier, and let's take a look. We have IBIT is hanging out right now at 53.84. This is basing a little bit better, but it is at a very delicate spot still. And the reason why I say that is because you can see that it's transacting against this point of control that it's been establishing for some time now. The market's been hovering around up here, but I'm seeing lower highs, which is not good. It is better, at least, that it's holding these lows, and those are pretty flat. But beyond that, it doesn't look super healthy. This is completely stuck there for the time being. It's our new friend. So really what we want to see is IBIT starting to crack above this for kind of like a bullish continuation. That's the reason why I added some shares here. But in terms of overall allocation, what did I have 125K allocated, and the position right now is only using 80. So we're still less than 65% allocated. And it's to give me room to move, right? Like if we fall 30, 40%, I want to be able to scale into that. And if we start breaking out, I still have room to scale in and catch more of the upside. My broad expectation of the market right now is it feels like it is in a delicate state. It does not look super healthy. We're seeing some small elements of strength. But one thing I have been really, really pleased with the Bitcoin holding is that it does a good job to a degree offsetting some of the risk that I have in IWMQs and SPY. There's still beta relationship there. It's not decoupled at all, but it is lighter, which is, again, just generally kind of cool because it's a way to be long something that I like. I don't necessarily want Bitcoin to go down at all so that the underlyings like UPRO and TQs can do well, and they maintain a relationship where they're a little less correlated. That allows me to do that. That's where we're at. So if there's anything you'd like to see me talk about, anything you want me to go over in these recap videos, let me know. We'll be doing these pretty regularly for the rest of the year, ideally, because again, I want to give you a long run view of what we're doing in these two strategies. So hopefully people can learn a different way of doing things, hopefully add a couple more tools to the tool belt. And there will be some weeks where there's not going to be a whole lot to talk about because a lot of the strategy is buying, holding, and waiting. But that's still part of the game. So I hope to show you some of the interesting points where we're going to have to roll in the money options. That's absolutely going to be on the docket right now. It is, but there will be periods where this is going to become pretty hectic, especially if the market rolls over. But if not, it's a lot of this. So let me know if there's anything you want to see me talk about. Be an outlier. I'll see y'all later.